Hi everyone, hope you guys are doing well. So just like I mentioned in my last post, today I'm going to create a video relating to my previous project, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can create multiple pages in React and use a create browser router from React Router DOM to control those multiple pages. Also, we are going to see the updating process which we left in the last project, and I might show you something else as well, like how you can use the Tailwind CSS in your React.js project as well. We are going to use the Daisy UI library for doing some UI styling, because currently our project doesn't have any kind of styling. We are just using the raw styling by the CSS, and I'm also going to show you how that CSS is being connected to our application. So let's get started. The first thing I will generally do is go to open up my project, but before that let's open up the MongoDB, because as you have remembered, in my last project I used the local MongoDB server for creating my database, and just as the MongoDB opens, we are going to work with our project. So it's taking a little bit time, but it will open soon. So yeah, it opens soon. Now only thing I need to do is to start the connection, so I just start the connection. So that's the first thing we might have to do. Now the next thing we will do is open up our project directory, and just like I did in previous, there is already a VS Code open in my, so I'm just going to close it. And now after closing, we are going to open up this this folder in our VS Code. So if you have already watched my previous video, you know that our project is structured in two folders. First we have the backend. The backend is created in Express.js, which I think I haven't deleted the previous data, but we will delete this later. But the project is structured in MRC or MVC pattern, should I say, model view controller, which we are not using views here, we are using routes. So we have product routes, and these product routes are controlled by controllers, and all of these controllers are using the product model, which we are importing from here, product model, and they are being used to interact with the database for creating product, for getting all the products data, for getting single product, and as well as updating products. So we also have the delete product. We have seen 2 or 3 create operations, but we haven't seen how to update a product. So that's one of the goals of today's video is. So the first thing we'll do here is just open up our terminal, and VS Code remembers the terminal structure here. So we have opened up the backend, and let's get started. Just clear up this, we'll clear this out, everything here, and we can cd into frontend, because we are also going to need the frontend be open here. So let's start here. We will start with npm run dev, and this will initiate the node command to start our backend server. And then after the backend server is connected to our database, we will start running our frontend. npm run dev. As soon as the frontend starts, we will start our application on localhost 5173 port. So yeah, the application has been started. So let's go here, and for those who get distracted, please avoid the dog barking sound behind me. So let's get started. We have localhost 5173 is starting our Vite project, and if you remember this was the last project structure. What I can do here, if I add a product, let's test this out. Let's say we have product 4. I copy this and add the product content here, something like this, and maybe I can add a price. And if I submit here, let's go here, you can see there is a product 4 here, and if I go ahead delete, we can delete the product instantly. If I reload this, these products that were saved before in our database still remains because we haven't deleted this yet. So the first goal of this project is to install the React Router DOM and then create some pages based on which we can navigate. So you can think of these products as like the home page, and this there will be another page where we can add a product. So we can basically create a dashboard kind of thing from which we can just adding products. Maybe we can add a table as well to see all the product listing, but that could be a different video. We will just focus on like installing the React Router DOM, how we can use it, how we can work with it, how we can use the loader function to load all the products data in our UI. So let's get started. So what I can do here is that I have already opened this URL which you can see is called React Router DOM /6.2.8 start tutorial, and this documentation I will provide this link in my description so that you can later check on this documentation. But we are going to use some piece of things from this documentation. So what I want you to do is, like, first you just have to install the React Router DOM. In order to do that, let's get started here from our terminal. We can close this out from the front-end terminal, and then let's just install like npm, and then we can press I, which stands for install, and we can write here react -router -DOM. So it will start installing the React Router DOM in my current Vite React.js application. Okay, so it has already installed the React Router DOM. Now what we can do here is clear this and start the server again. Okay, so yeah, it started the server again. Now the next thing what we will do here is I can just close this terminal here and collapse this and open up only the front end, because we are going to work with the front end. Let me close everything from here. Let's go to the source directory, and I told you that we are using the default CSS. So this is the CSS we are actually using here. This is the index CSS file. Now we are going to keep only one CSS file here because we are going to work with the Tailwind CSS later on. For now it just remains here, but we might want to delete few things from here, like this button could stay here, and I will just delete this media. This body, I don't want this body to be display as flex. Let's just delete this part here. We can delete the anchors as well, and let's just delete. Okay, let me just keep these things, but later on we will remove everything here. We don't even need the we have here. So let's go to the app.css. We don't need this file as well. Let's just delete it. But if you remember, in app.jsx we are importing the app.css here, and that's how basically the CSS file gets connected to the application, and the JSX pages. But this index.css is accessible to everywhere. Even this app.css is accessible to all of the components and the pages that are rendered on the app, should I say app function or the app component. So what I'm going to do here is just delete this, because this will cause a problem because we don't have the app.css in our current directory. Now another thing I would like to show you guys is working with the environment variables. Okay, because if you see that we are currently using this API, and these things are kind of sensible things. So what you would like to do is, instead of writing the API code like hard coded, instead of that doing, you might want to use something called as .env file. And since we are using the Vite.js, we can access these environment files just like I have shown in the Express.js, because we need a .env to access the environment files. Vite gives us a way to access those environment files while locally. So how do we do that? Let's just copy this part and let's go here in the environment and let's create vite underscore base URL. So why vite underscore? Because that's the convention you have to follow when you are working with a vite application. You have to add a vite keyword in order to provide an environment variable. Okay, so how to import this thing now? What we can do here is, let me just let's see where we are using this. Okay, yes, we are using this here. So what I can do here is I can change this base URL. Okay, and instead of adding this, we remove this from here. We are going to use the import.meta.env, and we are going to add this environment in our React application. Okay, so let's just add this here. Alright, so let me save it here. And since we are only adding the base URL here, and you remember that we were using the full hard-coded API with the endpoint to get or fetch all the products, we need to add the endpoints as here as well. So what I'm going to do here is add the base URL, and then let me just create increase the size a little bit here. We're going to add the API endpoints here. So this was for the products, I guess, yeah, and this was for making post request. This was for deleting requests. So now we have base URL and we have this products. So we have the base URL, but we would like to add another thing here, which is I'm sorry about that. What's coming? Okay. So let me copy this from here. So we are going to add the products here in here, right? And let me see if I'm using the slash here. So I'm not using the slash here, so I have to add the slash here, because that's going to compose all the API endpoints here. So you know what I can do here is add. I think I don't need to add this. Instead, yeah, I know what I can do here, and I don't need to add another thing here. Yeah. Alright, so we don't need this as well here. We don't need this correction. So yeah, this should be done because we are using the base URL here. Then we are adding the products, and then we are adding the product ID. So that should be our delete endpoint, and this could be done same for the post request. Let me see. I don't think we need actually for doing the post request. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just test these API routes first, if they are working or not. And let me see if there is any kind of error here. So which errors are being added here? Let's say index is defined but never been used. Okay, so this is an initial error. What we can do is just remove index, because actually we are not working with the index, and it says it's missing a dependency called base URL included and removed. So you can just avoid this. It's not actually very necessary. So let's go to the application, and it's starting. Okay, we can now see the products, and the background however actually has been changed, and the reason is this root background. Okay, so I'm just going to delete this and I'm going to delete, you know what, I'm just going to delete everything in the root here. We don't need this anymore. Okay, so it's working here, but we cannot see the products those were added here. And let us see what's going on here. So hey, sorry about that guys, I was having some problems, so I come back and let's get started. Let's get resumed with the project. Okay, so let's see here what we are facing here. So if I inspect here, one thing I need to do here is first I would like to see what the console is saying. So it's saying is a syntax error. I can click here and I can see where the message is coming from. So it's actually catching an error and it's saying something like a syntax error might has been occurred, an unexpected token, so something like that. And it says that it's not valid JSON. So whatever is coming from the backend is not a JSON. Let's see also the network tab, and if I reload this, you might see that it says 200 fetch API. So it's getting something, but we are not getting the data. And the reason why we are not getting the data is if I see here, I'm getting the base URL. I'm making a fetch request to this products, I mean base URL plus / products, but when I'm making a get request, I'm just sending the base URL, and that's the reason why it's not able to fetch the request. So let's just, so why it's just showing like this here, and this plus base / products. I'll just import this. So let me save it, and I think, okay, so yeah, this works. If I close it out here, you can see all the products data. Why not we just delete the button stylings here? We don't need this anymore. And for now, let's just keep the font family as maybe could be something like this. Mouse, yeah. It's not a grid. So let's change this. Let's change this to the sensor. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, everything is okay. For now, let's make a delete request here, and yeah, product is gone. Let's see here. So this tutorial, friends, is going to be very small for now. I think I will create another tutorial tomorrow or next day to discuss more about like context API, loaders, and all those stuff. So just for now in this tutorial, because the time has already been passed so much, I think I need to just show you how the routing is working in React.js. So what we will do, what I will do here is let's create a folder in our frontend, and not in the frontend directory. We'll add this into our source directory. So this will be known as like routes. This is where we will define our router and maybe a private route as well. So let's add routes. You can keep it in a small case. I generally like to use small case in case of if I'm creating any kind of routes file. Okay, so the very first thing we need to do here is to import the create browser router, which will help us to create the routing. So let's import this. So we'll import create browser router, and it's not importing. And why it's not importing? Why it's not importing? Let me see one thing. If our package.json has installed React router down, so it's installed, but why it's not being used? Let's see. Let's go to the documentation and let's see React router. Yeah. So after npm install React router DOM, you need to import create browser router. So yeah, we need this too. not actually two, we need the one, because we are defining the routes here. So I'll just paste it here and let me increase the size. So we are using the create browser router, and this browser router we can define our router here. So this will be routes, and by using this create browser router we can define some pages and some path URLs where you want to navigate. So this takes an array of objects, and in each object we will define the path and the element. So elements are going to be basically the JSX files. So let me create here another folder which we will call as pages. Okay, so in pages we can add the home page. Maybe let's say home.jsx, and I can use a React shortcut here to create a home page. So let's say this is a home page. Let's just delete this because we don't need this here. And sorry about that, guys. I think I need to take a sip. Yeah, I think I feel better now. So here we will define our path and our page. So let's add path, and you have to mention the path in quotations. So this will be the root of the active the main path or the index path. You can say it as an index path. Okay, the next thing we need is the element, and to define two element you can use the less than and greater than sign, just like we create HTML tags. That's how you have defined. I think this is very much familiar to you because you have already seen how we can create a component and how we can use those components in our pages. So this will be just home. I'm writing this like in an HTML format, but we haven't imported the home page yet. So let's just import this. And React is VS Code is pretty smart to understand where we have to import the home page. So it imported the home page here, and the path is the root path. Now only thing I need to do is to export this. So we say export default routes, and basically this is how you have to export your routes. Now we are exporting these routes, but where are we going to use this? So let me show you where we are going to use it. So what I will do here is, instead of using all of this in our app, I will just go ahead, cut out everything from here, go to our home page, paste it here. Now there are many things we haven't imported yet, so let me just cut this out. Yeah, we can paste it here. Okay, I'm not sure if this is where the products are actually coming from, so let's see. Can import it here. Import product cards, where the product card is important, import it. Let's see, path. Sure. So we have pages, we have assets. Okay, so what I did mistakenly is we need to add the components in our source directory. Let me see if I go to the components folder, and then let me get the cards and finally the product cards. So yeah, because that's the only component we are actually importing here. So this will be remains as our homepage. Okay, now in our app folder we are not doing anything here, but we have to import few things here. So we are going to import routes reason it's not importing is we have to open up this routes first so that VS Code knows that there are any routes here. So let's import routes. Yeah, then we can import these routes in our app. Now, to use those routes in our application, we need to add these routes into a route provider. So in my return, instead of returning a JSX, I will return a route provider, which we are importing from the React Router DOM itself. And we close this and we provide the router, which is a prop for the route provider, and we will add these routes into our router. Okay, so let me save it here, and now you understand what's going on here. So we have created a router, and in the router we are creating the home page as our first route. Then we are exporting these routes, and in the app.jss, by using the route provider, we are adding those routes. Okay, so if I open up this, which is my localhost 5173, let me see what's going on here. Yeah, is giving us the same page, just we have defined it. Okay, so let's go ahead and create another page here so that you can understand fully how the routes and the elements are working. Okay, so in the pages I can create another page called about.jsx, and I can just write here RFC, and in RFC I'm in JSX file. Let me zoom it a little bit. In JSX file we just created a functional component called about, and we have exported this component. Now we can use this component in our routes to define another page. Okay, so what I am going to do here, I'm just going to add a comma again, and then I can just copy this page, paste it here. In the paths I can define the about, and in the element I can also define the about. So now I can just go ahead and hit enter, and I have imported the about in my routes file, and I'm using /about as my as the path for the component of the page to be displayed. Now you don't need to actually add a slash here, you can just display it as show it as about. And now since this about route is connected to our routes, and we are also linking the component or the view to our route, we can go ahead here, and after a slash, if I write here about, you will see that it's displaying about here. That's very much small here, you can't see that. But if I go back here in my home route, we can see this all this products page, right? So we can do one thing here, like we can display the list of products in one page, and we can display a form to add those products in another page. So let's see what we can do here is, let's first go ahead and create a layout page. Okay, so in my source directory I will create a layout here, and in the layout I can create another file called, let's say, layout.jsx. and what's a layout? Think of like a website. Okay, when you navigate in a website, the header and the footer remains the same, but the body or the content changes. So layout is like a predefined template for the website or the application. So I can write here RLC, and I can delete this, and instead of writing anything here, I can import the outlet, which is provided by the React DOM itself. Now instead of let's say using the home page, what we can do here is we can add this layout as the main or the root in our router, and use a home and about pages as like the children routes for the main route. So let me show you through the example. So we take this layout, we go to the routes.jsx, and in the create browser router where it's accepting the array of objects, we can create another object. We can define the path here, and in the path I will add the slash to define it as our main route. Then in the element section I can import the layout. Okay, so we are importing the layout. We have defined this as our main router, but we are also defining the home page as our main route. So to use this home and the about as the child for this layout, we can add another property here called children's. Okay, so let me just say this. Okay, so children's, and we can take these paths and add them in the array of the children's. Now if you don't define any route here, this home route will act as a main route for this layout. Okay, let's see here. So if I reload this, for some reason it's not showing. I think what happened is this is your children's, this should be actually children. Okay, so yeah, I was right. There was a typo mistake there. So what's the benefit of this? Let me show you a cool example. Here in the layout we can create a navigation here. So let's go in the source folder, let's go in the components, let's create another folder called not inside the cards, in the components, let's create another folder called, let's say, shared. And why shared? You can think of navigation being shared through all the applications, so we can create a component here called nav.css. Okay, and let's create a component here. We are not going to add CSS anything here, we are just going to use a list here maybe. So in the UL we will define our routes, like we already have a home route, and then we already have another about route, right? So how to link up these routes? Well, in React Router DOM it provides you something called link, which you can think of like anchor tags, but to use navigation in a React application without loading, we are going to use link tags instead of anchor tags. So let me show you how we can do that. So let me just remove this and let me call the link tag from React Router DOM. Okay, so it takes in a parameter or a prop called to, and here we can define our route. So it's not home, it's actually the slash that is route, and then we can define the route name here. We are going to do similar thing in case of about as well. So let me paste it here, and I will just cut the about and paste here. So now we are going to add this navigation in our layout. So let me add this here. Okay, so let's say this is going to be our map, and this is another way you can add a component by using a self-closing tag. So we have added the navigation, and now let's go see here. If you closely see here, we have this home and this about, and let me show you what is going on here. If I click here about, why it's not changing? Okay, I see. Sorry guys. Let me go here in the navigation. We actually haven't changed the route here, so let me say this is about route. Okay, so let me refresh it, although we don't need a refreshment because it has hot module replacement. So if I click here about, you see it's showing here about. If I click the home page, it's showing us the home page. So that's the reason why the layout is necessary. That's the reason why even this outlet is necessary. If you go to the routes folder, I mean the routes file, and if you check closely, the layout is the entry point, and we are defining home as the first view for this layout. And about and if we navigate to the about route, then we will be able to see about view, but it will act as a child to the layout view. Okay, so this navigation this navigation on the layout will remain same, but the body part or the main center part will be changed. So that's why we need a layouts or outlet things. Okay, so this is the first thing I wanted to show. Now this UI is actually looking very terrible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the Tailwind CSS for now. We're going to change some style, and we will in this tutorial, and we'll cover up the next parts in the upcoming videos. So let's go to the official site of the Tailwind CSS, and let's say Tailwind CSS. So it's currently Azan right now, and still I'm making this video. So those who are actually from Islamic religion, please don't mind. I'm making this video currently in the morning. It's currently now 5, so I have to end the video very fast. So let's go to the docs. So we'll read the documentation and install the Tailwind CSS. So you can use the Tailwind CLI or PlayCDN, but there is also something called as framework guides. So in case you are using with Vite.js, in case if you are using with Vite, you can click here and read the documentation to install Tailwind in your Vite React application. So we will start from here where it says npm install Tailwind CSS port CSS auto prefixer. Let's open up the terminal and let's close this here, and now we are going to paste it here to start installing Tailwind. And after the Tailwind has been installed, then we will add another command called npx tailwind css init, and this will create this Tailwind configuration file in our application. Okay, so it has started installing Tailwind. It's going to take some time. I know it can be some time consuming thing to install packages, but believe me guys, this is how the development process works. When you need any kind of package, you need to install it, and you need to give it a time to be installed. And let's add this command which says npx tailwind css init, and if we add this command, this is going to create a Tailwind configuration in our root file, or the root directory, which is the front-end root directory. So yeah, you can now see there is called a file in the front end. This is inside the front end. It says Tailwind configuration JSX, and now we need to follow the other things as well. What it says here, we just need to copy everything from here, and let's go here and just paste it out. So what this thing does that it will check for index.html, and it will also be tracking the source directory. Any file that has .js, tsx, jsx extension, this Tailwind compiler will be watching those changes made into our pages. So now we also need to add 3 directives from Tailwind, and they will be added into our index.css file. So as I have told you before, we are going to work with only one CSS file. I already have deleted the app.css, but I don't know why. I think for some reason I have made it restored. So let's go to the index.css file, and here I will just change everything, and I will just paste these 3 directives. Okay, so now let me just close this. So we are done with adding directives, and we have also added this few things here. So let's see if Tailwind is actually running. I'm going to copy this part, and in my home, where is my home page? Let's go to the about page. Actually, let's add this inside here. Okay, so let me paste it here, which says text 3XL font bold underline. This is our Tailwind utility classes. Okay, so this says let me write here, let's say hello, this is about page. And if we see any changes made into our web page, we will know definitely for sure, we'll be sure for definitely that Tailwind has been installed. So let's go here and let's go refresh this. Oh, I remember I haven't started the local development server, so let me clear this out. Okay, so I will write here npm run dev, and this will start the development server for the front end, which will be initiated in 5173 port. So yeah, it has been started. Now let me just reload this. Okay, and since Tailwind has been installed, it will take time. Okay, so now you can see that there is no styling at all, and this is the reason why because we have installed Tailwind, but the links that we have added will be working. So let me click on the about, and now you can see that it says here hello, this is about page. Why is showing a semicolon here? Oh, because I have added a semicolon here. So if I change this here, hello, this is about page. If I click here on the home, we can see the home page, but you see that this is actually default styling of the Tailwind. It has removed the normal styling that we added in our previous CSS. So to create things or to style up things, you need to add this Tailwind utility classes. Okay, so we will be working on the styling of the application in next tutorials, but for now just remember how you created the routes, how you created pages, and how you are linking them, how you are creating the layout. So let me just summarize. So what we did, we actually installed React Router DOM. We created a separate routes file so that we can define our routes which are paths, and then our pages will be defined as elements to those paths. Okay, then this route is an instance for the create browser router. We are exporting these routes and we are capturing this export in our app.jsx file. Then we are importing the router provider from React Router DOM, and we are sending those routes that we created as data for the router property in the router provider. Now since this app itself is being exported into our main.jsx file, now we are able to create navigation throughout our application. And to navigate from one page to another page, we are using the link tag. And how we are using the link tag? In our components, if we go to the shared folder and in the nav.jsx, we are using the link tags to navigate from different pages. Okay, so this nav is also being rendered into our layout, and this layout is using outlet. And why is using outlet? Because we are importing home and about as children routes to our layouts. So if you want something to be like navigation or footer to be in the same place, and you want the content to be changed, then you have to decide that particular place to be as outlet. Okay, so this is how the routing works in React. There are maybe other libraries for doing routing, but as far as I know and I have learned, create browser router, I mean React Router DOM is primarily the router library I have used. Okay, so that's how you can do routing. And I have also showed you how to how to install Tailwind CSS into your React.js project. In the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to install the Daisy UI library. Then we are going to style our application. But for now, I'm just ending the tutorial of today here. So thank you guys, and I hope you like the tutorial. I may have done some mistakes here. Please put on me for that. If you have any comments or suggestion for me, then please go ahead, add the comment so that I can answer to you. answer to your questions. Thank you very much.